Barbara Wagner. I'm the chief economist at the Montana Department of Labor and Industry.
Okay, Barbara, New York Times, and of course, I guess the Independent Record as well. There was an article in there talking about the Kauffman Institute of some sort that has said that Montana leads the nation in opening small businesses. Can you speak to that? What's that all about?
Yes, the Kauffman Institute is a national organization that rates each state based on a number of factors about entrepreneurialism and how prevalent it is in our economy. And Montana has actually been the number one state for entrepreneurialism 3 years in a row now. This is the third year. So that's just really great sign. Montana always scores well in this metric, but for 3 years running, we've been at the top.
Now, why is that? What is it about Montana, aside from our rugged individualism here?
Well, certainly a lot of starting your own business is, cultural factors, including some, individualism and some initiative to start your own business. There's also some negative aspects to our economy that spur entrepreneurialism as well. Montana doesn't have very high wages, so I think a lot of people choose to start their own business because they're trying to make up for some wage income, or they feel like they can go off on their own and get a little higher incomes. But that is really important to our overall economy here in Montana. Our wages might rank low, but when you look at our overall income, including the activity from the entrepreneurialism, we rate 35th in the nation for those income levels. So that's an important component to keeping our state's personal income levels up.
Okay. Are there any particular businesses, types of business that lead the way as far as, creating new businesses in Montana?
There isn't necessarily a particular industry that is the one creating all of the new businesses in Montana. The entrepreneurialism is fairly widespread across most industries. Now, there are some industries that it's hard to get startups in. For example, manufacturing, most businesses in manufacturing are these large businesses that require a lot of space and equipment, and so you're not going to launch this huge manufacturing business right off the bat, right? You're going to start small. So there are certainly some industries that are more prone to entrepreneurialism. A lot of new restaurants, for example, they have lower startup costs. But in Montana, we have high rates of entrepreneurialism compared to the nation in nearly every industry, and it's also across the state as a whole. We did some research a few years ago about our business startup rates in each county in Montana, and while we think of, Missoula and Bozeman as these young, thriving, very dynamic economies that are creating the entrepreneurialism, it's actually happening across the state in nearly every county with fairly high rates. So.
I had just been visiting with Patrick Barkey at the Bureau of Business and Economic Research. We were discussing a little bit about microbreweries and craft breweries, and anything you could speak of to that.
Well, I know that they've done some research on that at BBER, so they're probably more experienced in that area. But that is one industry that Montana has really moved into in the last few years. We've also had developments in a lot of tech industries opening up in the Bozeman area, and both in the healthcare technology and just general technology. We consider those businesses like business services. So there's some exciting new things. Also, interestingly, as we exited the recession, this new business generation and our entrepreneurialism really helped drive us out of the recession. Most of the new jobs that we added since 2008 have come from new businesses in Montana, businesses that did not exist in 2006 and 2007 prior to the recession. So not only is this really great for the entrepreneurs themselves and helping raise income levels, it really helps all of our economy by spreading out those benefits to having larger employment levels and higher wages for all of Montanans.
All right. So are there some guidelines you can think of to folks who are thinking of starting their own business?
Oh, well, most of the time I just talk about them. I don't help start them. But, I think that obviously Montana has a really nice, favorable client to help out new business startups. And I know that the governor's office through the Montana Main Street project has worked hard to streamline the licensing process and also streamline their assistance to new small businesses and people who are either wanting to come to Montana with a new business or start their own here in Montana as a homegrown. And there's all sorts of resources available for people who are interested in starting their new business, figuring out how to write a business plan, talking about how to make your sales pitch to get financing, etc. So it's nice to have that support. And I think with a small state like ours, there's a lot of really great networks that are available to help people out when they're trying to start their own business.